Where's your emergency?
It's 1357 South Water Street. It's off 109. Please hurry.
You said 57?
Please hurry.
Okay, what's going on?
1357. My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and dragged him into the ditch, and it's on top of him. He's trapped under the truck, and somehow it drug him underneath it. Yes, my son is under it. I'm trying to call 911.
Okay, what's your name?
Oh my God. My name is Aaron Solomon.
And you said
oh
you're
my God.
at 1357 South Water Avenue, right?
Yes.
How old is the male?
He's 18. He just turned 18 a couple weeks, about a month ago. It's my son. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is not good.
Is he awake and
please
talking
hurry.
to you?
I don't think so. He's not alert, right? No, he's out. And he's trapped. I got 3 guys here, and he's trapped under the truck.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I understand, sir. Stay on the phone with me while we get somebody out there. What's your name?
Aaron Solomon.
All right, Aaron.
Huh?
What kind of vehicle is it?
It's a Toyota Tacoma, and the vehicle he's underneath the vehicle.
Okay, I've got that.
And it's.
Okay, I've got that. What color is it?
It's a white truck. That's my son. It's somehow it backed up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on with 911 right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Was your son working on it?
No, he was just getting out of it. We're on an incline, and I guess he didn't have it in park or something, or it wasn't engaged, or. Oh my God. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Is your son still not responding?
No.
And he's still under the truck. No one can get out from under it. We've got units en route to you. I'm just asking you questions before we can update them, okay? Can you check and see if he's breathing?
Somebody's telling me that he's coming to.
Okay.
Maybe.
He is waking up,
Maybe.
kind of keeping still. So he is breathing?
He can't move. I don't think he can move. I don't know.
Okay, I understand.
No, he can't move. He's trapped.
Okay, we got somebody en route. Now, when he wakes up, he might be scared. Can somebody just get down there and talk to him?
Yeah, somebody talk to him. Shit. There's blood. Is he facing up or down? He's facing up. They said he may aspirate. We need to hurry. Oh, my God.
So does he have blood coming out of his mouth?
Yeah, there's blood coming out. Yeah, somehow it drug him down, I think. I don't know whether it wasn't in park or what, or if it didn't engage the brake, or it drug him underneath somehow.
Okay.
They said he's facing up.
Okay.
But he's bleeding from his mouth. So, Grant, turn your face to the side if you can, barely, but be careful.
Don't move him, okay?
We can't move him. We can't move him. Oh my God.
All right, Beeson, they're there. I'm gonna let you go, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm your host Sherry, and you are listening to From the Dark Side. Today we're talking about a case involving an 18-year-old man who passed away, and the circumstances around his death are questionable. There's so many things happening in this case that make you wonder if it really needs a second look. I gotta tell you, I was angry, I was sad. This case is truly disturbing. As a disclaimer, there's a lot of talk about Grant's father, Aaron Solomon, in this story, so I have to mention before we get started that his father, Aaron, has not been charged with any crime relating to Grant's death, and he has not been charged with some other crimes that we'll get into. There are a whole lot of allegations against this man, but none have brought forth any charges. By law, Aaron Solomon is innocent until proven guilty. There's talk about crimes against children in this story. I keep it to a very minimum, but it is there in case you're not comfortable listening. The main source for this case comes from a website called Freedom for Gracie, and it's ran by Grant's mom and sister. Freedom for Gracie and the rest of my sources are in the description area. This is episode 111, The Case of Grant Solomon. This story took place in 2020. This was peak pandemic. It was basically the year from hell, the COVID-19 era. Everyone was stockpiling toilet paper, and it was just a really weird time for everyone. Kanye West ran for president. We were all locked in our homes watching Tiger King on Netflix. The Pentagon released videos of UFOs, and we all didn't really care. We learned about social distancing, and schools were going virtual. 2020 was a wild ride. On July 20th, 2020, Sumner County, Tennessee Emergency Services receives a phone call from a man that says his 18-year-old son was ran over by his truck. He says he parked next to him and they're on an incline. His son got out of his truck and walked to the tailgate to get his baseball gear out. The truck allegedly came out of gear or malfunctioned, and the truck begins going down the incline and ran him over, dragging him into the drainage ditch. Totally horrific circumstances. Grant Solomon is 18 years old. He has a younger sister, Gracie, who was 14 at the time of this story. Grant's mother, Angie, is a successful pharmacist. His father, Aaron, was a TV news anchor for many years and kind of a local celebrity. Now he works at Merrill Lynch to help wealthy people manage their wealth. According to Freedom for Gracie, in 2012, Aaron received a very large inheritance, millions of dollars from a great aunt who passed away. He and Angie would divorce 1 year later in 2013. Angie cited Aaron's alleged abuse and infidelity were the reasons for the divorce. Aaron had lots of funds to fight for custody. He has all this money, and Angie, although she's a doctor with a great salary, didn't really stand a chance. According to Freedom for Gracie, Aaron claimed that Angie was mentally ill, and ultimately custody of Grant and Gracie was awarded to Aaron. Angie isn't giving up, though. She fought tirelessly to get her kids back, but it's an uphill battle, one that she is fighting alone. Grant and Gracie wanted to live with their mom, but the courts decided Aaron would have sole custody. According to the Daily Mail, Gracie and Grant were living with Angie at the time of our story, but the details are unclear. Angie didn't have legal custody. I don't know if this was a runaway situation or if they were going back and forth between their dads and their moms. But one thing they claim for certain is that Grant and Gracie did not want to live with their dad. In fact, they downright didn't want to be around him. Grant had celebrated his 18th birthday just 1 month prior to his death. Upon turning 18, he had plans to take his dad to court so he could fight for custody of his 14-year-old sister, Gracie. Since his mom couldn't get custody, he wanted to get custody himself. Now that he's 18, he has a horse in the race. He couldn't do this when he was 17, so he had to wait until he became a legal adult. These are things that no 18-year-old should have to be worried about. Grant should be more concerned with school and parties and baseball and girls. He should not be having to fight so hard. Why are Grant and Gracie so adamant to get away from this man? Gracie has spoken out on her own, and she says her dad is a rapist and a molester. She says she endured years of sexual abuse from her dad, as well as physical and emotional abuse. Grant says his dad abused him and his mom both emotionally and physically. There was an instance in 2013 where Aaron allegedly tried to strangle Angie with a phone cord, and when she got to the hospital, Aaron told the doctors that she had attempted suicide and she was mentally ill. She says Grant witnessed the whole thing but was too afraid to tell anyone. Angie did undergo a court-ordered mental evaluation, and the results from the psychologist were that Angie had no issues. She wasn't suicidal, she wasn't crazy, and most of all, she was a loving, caring mother. When this evidence was produced in court, the judge dismissed it, which is odd because he was the one who ordered the mental evaluation. So how does Aaron get to keep his kids if both are allegedly being abused by him? Angie claims that she did go to police. Gracie went to the administrators at her school. It seems like they were overlooked again and again. Gracie and Grant both attended a private Christian school. I feel like a public school would take the allegations more seriously. It's also widely speculated that Aaron was communicating with young girls via instant messaging during this time. If you go to the Freedom for Gracie website, you'll see a much more in-depth analysis of this. I would also check out the website so you can see more about how many times Angie went to police to tell them that her daughter was being sexually abused by her dad. These allegations against Aaron are very serious, and Gracie released a video on YouTube where she talked about it. She says that her brother Grant died trying to protect her from their dad. Now that Grant is 18, he has plans to take his dad to court and get custody of Gracie himself or help his mom get custody of her. Grant is a dual athlete. He was incredibly smart and excelled in sports. He's 6'4" tall and very athletic. Grant is a really good baseball player. He's even being scouted by some Division I colleges for his pitching skills. On the morning of July 20th, 2020, Grant has an appointment at the Ward Performance Institute in, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Gallatin, Tennessee. Somebody from there is going to say, you're not supposed to pronounce it that way. Gallatin, Tennessee. The whole purpose of this appointment was so that Grant's baseball skills could be evaluated. They are going to observe him and take notes for recruiters. Grant has worked hard as a pitcher and deserves this opportunity. He's supposed to meet his dad there. I don't know why his dad had to be there. It could be one of those things where a parent or guardian must be with you since it's relating to colleges. Or it could be because his dad said, I paid for this. These things aren't cheap. I paid. I'm attending. We know that Grant was not crazy about this idea. He did not want to be alone with his dad. This would be the first time in 2 years that he has been alone with his dad. Even when he was living there, Gracie would be there. This is July 2020, so it's peak COVID, and Grant had recently gotten over COVID and was still kind of feeling the effects. He wasn't on his A game and supposedly didn't even want to go. It's 8:30 in the morning, and Grant pulls into the Ward Performance Institute. There's only a couple cars there, which likely belong to the employees, and his dad is there as well. I'm guessing since it's during COVID time, an appointment was needed, so there weren't a lot of people gathered in the building at once. Aaron says that he arrived first. Grant pulls in and parks next to him. They are both parked on an incline. Behind the parking lot, there's a rocky drainage ditch and then a sidewalk and then the road. This is a busy road, especially at 8:30 in the morning. Cars are going about 40 miles per hour down it as people head to work. They arrive in separate vehicles. Aaron says that his car is parked next to Grant's truck, which is a 2015 Toyota Tacoma. Aaron sits in his car checking a work email on his phone. He says Grant got out of his truck and walked around to the tailgate, and the truck rolled backwards and on top of him, dragging him 60 feet through the parking lot. The truck has him stuck underneath, and it's in the drainage ditch, which was right behind where they were parked. Neither of the two Ward Performance employees who were inside at the time saw what happened, and they didn't have any outdoor cameras. As well, no cars stopped. There's cars passing by, but all they see is a truck in a drainage ditch, almost like someone backed up too fast and went into the ditch and sidewalk. You hear in the 911 call Aaron speaking to the operator. He stated, I got 3 guys here with me. You can also hear him talking to someone. There's been a lot of speculation about this. Were there really 3 guys there with him? When EMS arrived, you heard those sirens at the end of the call. They stated no one was there except Aaron. Grant was transported by ambulance to Sumner Regional Hospital, where he died shortly afterwards. As Mom Angie is en route to the hospital, Aaron didn't request an autopsy. He declined organ donation and released his body to the funeral home. Grant's accident report showed he didn't have many injuries. He had a bruise to his upper thigh, a bruise on his hip. He had very minor injuries caused by the EMTs who were working on him trying to save his life. But his cause of death was a fatal blow to the back of his head. On the Freedom for Gracie website, there is a diagram drawn that has the exact measurements of a 2015 Toyota Tacoma, with a diagram of Grant being 6'4" next to it. According to them, the measurements aren't consistent with the injuries received. I'm not an accident reconstructor, so I can't chime in on this, but there was no accident reconstruction of Grant's death. Sheriff's departments have people to do this. If I was a resident of Sumter County, Tennessee, I would request my tax dollars go towards a reconstruction of Grant's accident. There's 3 sets of people here. We have those that are on the side of Grant's mom and sister who believe that Aaron caused the death of his son because he knew Grant was now a threat to him and had plans to expose his father's crimes against his little sister to the courts. We have those that say Aaron's a piece of shit who assaulted his kids and should be buried under the prison for it, but Grant's death was an accident and Aaron had nothing to do with it. Then we have those that say Aaron is innocent in all of this. Gracie is lying about the abuse and Angie created a smear campaign against him. And unfortunately, his son died in a tragic accident, but he's innocent. I'm on the fence because I 100% believe Gracie, along with any other child who has been sexually assaulted. But Grant's death to me seems like it could have been an accident, but I also see signs that it could have been a murder. But we don't know for sure without an investigation, and at this point, I'm not sure we'll ever know. Grant and Aaron were outside next to a busy road during rush hour. If you're going to commit murder, it's like the worst time and place to do it. Plus, Aaron doesn't know if this business has cameras. So if this was a murder, it likely wasn't a planned murder. When someone dies from being in a fight, it's usually caused by a blow to the head, which is what Grant had. However, Grant is 6'4" and athletic. Aaron is not. I've read a lot of people that say Aaron showed no emotion in that phone call. I gotta say that I will never judge a person's reaction on a phone call to emergency services, whether they're guilty or innocent. Some people don't understand the severity of the situation at the time. Others, like Mark Winger, if you ever listen to his 911 call, he is screaming and crying, "Someone just killed my wife." You can hardly understand what he is saying because he's so hysterical. When in reality, he was the one who killed his wife moments before with a hammer. Aaron was a news anchor for years. He's got vocal training and things like that. I'm not saying I believe Aaron is 100% innocent. What I'm saying is that I wouldn't judge him by not showing emotion in the call. But what does stand out to me on the call is you can hear Aaron asking these guys, is he talking? Is he awake? Aaron was standing on the sidewalk. The other 3 men are in the drainage ditch with Grant. That's a total of 4 men who are capable of lifting the front of the truck up, but that didn't happen. When the first responders show up, they say Aaron was standing on the sidewalk. Grant was in the ditch under the truck and no one else was around. Real quick though, I tried to find out what gear the truck was in. This truck was an automatic transmission, so if it was in park, the truck malfunctioned. If it was in neutral, Grant either thought it was in park and instead had it in neutral and then walked around to the back of the truck to get his gear out and the truck rolled backwards over him, or someone put it in neutral while Grant was standing there behind the tailgate. Aaron tells the operator on the phone that 3 men came over. They didn't see it happen, but they saw the truck in the ditch and came over to help. These were not employees of the Ward Performance Center. We don't know where they came from. But listening to the call when Aaron is talking between the operator and these other mystery men, I feel like I hear someone else in the background very faintly, but these 3 men have never come forward or been identified, even today in 2024. So if they really were there, they must have hurried up and left right when the ambulance got there. It's possible they felt they did all they could and now professionals are here so we can leave, but they didn't stick around to give statements or even their names. Grant's mother, Angie, even put up $10,000 for the identities of these men, but they still didn't come forward. If they really were there, I'm wondering if they were possibly illegal immigrants who rolled out as soon as they saw the police. As a side note, if you've ever witnessed something like that and try to help and emergency services arrive, stick around long enough at least to give a statement. I was super skeptical about if these men really existed, but in March of 2024, nearly 4 years after Grant's death, a man comes forward. He was not one of the 3 men helping Aaron by talking to Grant and being in the ditch with him. Instead, this man was one of the employees at Ward Performance Center. He's one of the folks who does the observations. Mr. Drew Hall broke his silence and says that morning he heard commotion outside his job and goes outside and sees a white truck in the ditch with Grant underneath it. He says Grant appeared he was still alive and moving his head. He says Aaron was on the sidewalk on his phone and pointing to Grant. He also says that he saw 3 men wearing high visibility work vests standing next to Grant. Drew goes inside to alert his other coworker, who was the only other person in the building. When they came back out, the men were gone. Initially, he thought someone was texting and driving and went off the road and into the ditch. He had no idea that the truck was in his parking lot and rolled backwards. A private investigator met with Drew Hall. Drew told him from what he could remember, he saw Grant's head was next to the driver's side tire with his body laying diagonally and his feet towards the passenger back tire. Another thing Aaron has been scrutinized for is why he was not in the drainage ditch with his son. Instead, he's standing on the sidewalk yelling down for Grant to turn his head and help is coming. Why wasn't Aaron there with him during his final moments or trying to lift his truck up? Anything, really. Instead, he's got strangers doing the work for him. Some say it's because he didn't want to see his son like that and be traumatized by it, but some say it's because Aaron doesn't really care or even love his son. We've got Aaron's handwritten statement of what happened. He says, "My son Grant and I pulled into Ward Performance Institute separately and parked side by side. I was still in my car, but noticed my son got out to go get his baseball gear out of the back of his truck. I looked down to check a work email, and the next thing I know, I hear and see the truck rolling backwards into the ditch. I get out of my car and try to find my son and saw he was trapped underneath the truck and immediately called 911. Now, on the release to the funeral director, there are 3 checkmark boxes. It says for permission to have a post-mortal examination or an autopsy. The 3 options are granted, refused, and not requested. The checkmark is in the not requested section. So it wasn't 100% refused, but it wasn't requested either. Most parents would likely request an autopsy, but Aaron did not. What Aaron did check decline on was donating Grant's organs. Being that Grant was a healthy 18-year-old, his organs would be highly helpful to someone. He did qualify to be an organ donor, but Aaron declined. This also pissed his mom off. Aaron is making all of these major decisions before she even arrived at the hospital, and these are things that both parents need to be consulted about. There's questions from supporters of Angie that raise some good questions, such as how did he die from blunt force trauma of the head and no other injuries? The report stated Grant was forced under the vehicle as it was rolling down an inclined parking lot until finally coming to a rest in the drainage ditch. It also clearly states that Grant was not trapped under there. Grant was not bearing the weight of the truck. He's just laying underneath the truck. It's also odd that Grant's baseball shoes were clean, not a scuff or anything. After being drugged 60 feet across asphalt, you would think there would be some damage to the shoes. I wonder if it was an accident. Did Grant get that bruise on his thigh and hip from trying to stop the truck from rolling down on him? Was he holding the truck still until he couldn't hold it anymore, and then he let go and it ran over him? I would imagine Grant would have moved over before letting go, even if it means his truck may roll out onto the highway in rush hour traffic. Maybe he was trying to move to the side before letting go, or maybe he didn't see it coming at all. Maybe he reached in the back of the truck to grab his baseball gear and the truck just hit him instantly. Or maybe he had a fight with someone and it was staged to look like an accident. Or maybe Grant went around to the back of the truck and someone popped it out of gear. Without an accident reconstructor, we may never know. According to Freedom for Gracie, Grant's glasses were found on the sidewalk. If that's truly the case, then that's sketchy as hell because Grant's head was near the driver's side front tire. The sidewalk is up by the back of the truck. Some speculate that Grant was last on the sidewalk down by the road and not in the parking lot. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that Grant wouldn't put his baseball gear in the back of his truck where it could roll around. Grant had high-dollar professional gear, and baseball was his life. He would keep it up front or in the extended cab section of the truck. That's good to know, but I feel like if it was brought up in court, a judge would just call it speculation and it wouldn't hold up. Grant's truck's rear bumper was damaged, which could be from crashing into the ditch. However, Freedom for Gracie says that they did some investigating on Toyotas, and most truck guys will tell you that Toyota bumpers are very flimsy. They're designed to crumple very easily, even under minor pressure. They browsed Toyota groups and saw a lot of people complaining about them and advising you should always get a custom aftermarket bumper if you buy a Toyota Tacoma. I think the thing that bothers me is the lack of scrapes and abrasions. He had 2 bruises and a fatal blow to the back of the head, nothing else. If he was killed by his truck, he was knocked down, dragged 60 feet across the pavement, ran over, and in a rocky drainage ditch. I feel like he should have had more injuries. It's also strange that he doesn't have any burn marks. Grant had driven 50 miles in that truck and then parked it and got out. He walked around to the back and the truck rolled over him. I imagine it would be super hot under that truck. Plus, it was over 80 degrees that morning. If it's dragging him, then he should have had some burn marks. Freedom for Gracie says that Aaron refused a forensic investigation on the truck to see how this, air quotes, malfunction happened. In fact, he didn't even care that the truck malfunctioned because Aaron allegedly drove the truck for months after Grant passed away. He kept the truck as his personal vehicle. Still to this day in 2024, there haven't been any recalls on 2015 Toyota Tacomas for possible gear malfunctions. The only recall Tacomas have had so far are for retaining nuts that can loosen over time on the rear axle assembly. Angie and Grace say they begged him for the truck, but he wouldn't give it to them. Eventually, Aaron sold the truck, and Angie was able to track down its whereabouts by the VIN number, and Angie bought the truck back. Now that Angie has possession of the truck, I think this case needs a new investigation. The previous one was wrapped up in 1 hour. Police were on the scene until 9:41 a.m., and that's it. I also feel that the allegations Gracie has made about her father need to be taken seriously and not just brushed off. If Grant was murdered, the murderer would be really dumb to do it in broad daylight in front of a busy road and a building that could have security cameras. If this business had working security cameras, there would be zero questions in this. I also wish more cars had dash cams. If someone with a dash cam was driving down the road at the time, they could have captured something. Gracie posted a video on YouTube. It was very moving and brave of her to do. Keep in mind, she is 15 or 16 in this video. The part that stood out to me was when she said, "My brother died protecting me from my father, Aaron Solomon. My father is a monster. It makes me want to vomit. I've been minimalized, but now I found my voice to be able to tell you that my father raped me, hurt me, and I'm not going to be a victim of this monster. He is a rapist, he is a molester, he is a liar, and he is a killer." I haven't seen anything else come out of this case. As far as I can tell, Gracie is with her mom. She is probably 18 by now or close to it since she was 14 in 2020. I did read that she got a restraining order against her dad. Aaron has claimed that he is innocent in all this and even filed a lawsuit about it. The last I read on this case was that Angie was suing the funeral home that held Grant's service. The reason for this was because Grant was very tall. The casket that they had to use for him was for a person who was 6'5", but Grant didn't fit in the casket well, so she alleges that they broke his ankles in order to fit him in the casket. My final thoughts on this are that I believe Gracie. I also believe we won't know if this was a murder or an accident without a full reconstruction. Angie is currently trying to raise the money to fund a reconstruction as well as exhuming Grant's body for an autopsy. When listening to the 911 call, for me, the part where he says somebody talked to him, that hurts to hear. Aaron has not faced any charges in this matter, nor has he faced any charges in the allegations involving Gracie. Grant had a girlfriend and lots of friends who loved him. He had a bright future. He had just turned 18 and was trying to protect the two women he loved the most. Rest in peace to Grant Solomon. That's it for this week, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, and much love to you all. Intro music is Feral Angel Waltz, which is composed by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons. All his music can be found on his website, incompetech.com.